That was Lisa with Money, the CB's NAR remix. Welcome to the Rise Weekly Review for April 4th through April 11th, 2022. On Tuesday, two people were shot in South Chicago, one fatally. Around 2:42 p.m., a 37-year-old man and a 40-year-old woman were in a vehicle at the intersection on the 3200 block of East 87th. According to reports, another car pulled alongside them, and someone inside the vehicle pulled out a weapon and began firing shots. The man, identified as 37-year-old Brent Cobbs, was struck in the head and passed away from his injuries at the scene. An unidentified woman who was in the car with Cobbs was struck in the left shoulder. The woman was taken to an area hospital and last reported in good condition. Anyone with information on this or other Chicago crimes is asked to contact 311 or leave an anonymous tip at cpdtip.com. On Saturday, a 37-year-old was wounded in a South Chicago shooting. According to reports, around 1:15 p.m., the man was a passenger in a Ford Fusion on the 2500 block of East 83rd Street. According to reports, an unknown man walking between vehicles struck the mirror of the vehicle the victim was in. When the victim confronted the man, he pulled out a handgun and fired shots, hitting the man in the shoulder and backside. The man transported himself to Trinity Hospital and was last reported in good condition. On Sunday, a 29-year-old man was wounded in a Calumet Heights shooting blocks away from Bowen High School. Around 2:09 a.m., the man was walking to his vehicle on the 900 block of South Kingston. He heard multiple gunshots and began to feel pain in his arm. He was transported to Trinity Hospital and last reported in good condition. A fire in South Chicago on Sunday left a woman in critical condition and two officers injured. The fire occurred around 1:20 a.m. at a house on the 3000 block of East 79th Place. The officers entered the burning home and found a woman unresponsive. The officers carried the woman outside and began chest compressions. She was taken to Trinity Hospital and last reported in critical condition. The officers were also taken to an unreported area hospital after suffering smoke inhalation. Both were last reported in good condition. A second teenage suspect was taken into custody during the week for the murder of 70-year-old Yvonne Ruzich in Hegwisch. Ruzich was killed after an attempted carjacking on the 13300 block of South Baltimore in August. Security cameras captured the shooting as Ruzich and her son were waiting for her job at Baltimore Foods to open. Two suspects were seen on video getting out another vehicle and approaching Ruzich's car. As her son attempted to flee, the suspects opened fire, striking Ruzich. In August, a 17-year-old was arrested on 106th and Cottage Grove in Pullman and charged with the murder. On Tuesday, reports came in that a 16-year-old was arrested on the 100 block of East 114th Place in West Roseland. Both teens, whose names have not been released due to their age, are facing criminal murder charges. On Thursday, a Good Samaritan helped stop a kidnapping in South Shore. Sometime around 5:30 p.m., a 7-year-old girl was sitting on a park bench with her brothers nearby. When her brothers were not paying attention, a 23-year-old man grabbed the girl and ran off with her. A nearby bystander saw the kidnapping and followed the man, calling police. He followed the man to an apartment building located on the 7600 block of South Coles. When police arrived at the scene, they saw the man performing what was reported as an indecent act in the presence of the child. They took the man into custody and transported the child to Comer Children's Hospital. A Chicago man is facing federal child pornography charges after recording videos of more than 100 children ages 5 through 17 at YMCAs in Chicago and Niles. 55-year-old Michael Porter is accused of hiding recording devices in bathrooms and shower stalls at area YMCAs between the years of 2006 to 2020. Porter allegedly made recordings at the South Shore YMCA located at 63rd and Stony Island, the High Ridge YMCA at 2424 West Toohey, and the Leaning Tower YMCA at 6300 Toohey in Niles. The FBI disclosed results of their investigation, including the arrest of Porter during the summer. Porter was found with 4 hard drives, a cell phone, and laptop computer that contained pornographic images of children. The FBI is trying to identify victims who were recorded by Porter. Anyone with information or who may have attended these YMCAs may be a victim is asked to contact the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. A missing 16-year-old from South Darien was found during the week. 16-year-old Rosario Perez was reported missing early in the week from 102nd and Commercial. She was reported missing on Tuesday and had last been seen in Whiting. Throughout the week, family and friends shared information about the missing teen. She was later found and returned home safely. A Chicago committee tasked with evaluating monuments has made its recommendations for several monuments in the city. The 30-member committee was tasked with evaluating monuments following protests in 2020. Following clashes with police in Grant Park over the Columbus statue, Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot announced the removal of several Columbus statues, including the one located on 92nd and Commercial Avenue in South Chicago. During the week, the committee recommended that at least 2 Columbus statues located in Grant and Arrigo Park be permanently sidelined and the Belleville Monument in Burnham Park be removed. It is unclear from reports what the committee will recommend for the Columbus statue in South Chicago. Local area residents protested the statue before it too was removed. The Joint Civic Committee of Italian Americans, headed by Ron Onesti, sued the city claiming that the statue removal violated an agreement with the organization. He demanded the statues in Grant, Arrigo, and in South Chicago be returned. In March, Mayor Lori Lightfoot seemed to agree with Onesti, claiming that the statues would eventually be returned. Members of the committee didn't approve of Lightfoot's announcement, claiming they felt they served no purpose if she was going to ignore the recommendations. Other groups, including the Italian American Heritage Society of Chicago, criticized Mayor Lightfoot's announcement, claiming that the Columbus statues were rightfully removed. During the week, the Chicago Tribune reported of a federal investigation into Calumet City Mayor and Illinois State Representative Thaddeus Jones. Jones was in headlines recently over conflicts with other Calumet City officials. In many of the stories reported, Jones and other officials were accusing each other of corruption and were both threatening legal action and reporting their actions to authorities. The Tribune reports that Jones is now under federal investigation by the FBI for tax issues related to his campaign funds. A grand jury subpoena was issued in January to the Illinois State Board of Elections by the U.S. Attorney's Office seeking records on 3 campaign funds controlled by Jones. The subpoena was pursuant to a criminal investigation and sought reports for the funds Jones for Mayor, Jones for State Representative, and Citizens for Jones. All 3 of the funds were headed by Jones. The Tribune reports that copies of reports it received from the election board listed details of a 2017 hearing on a complaint alleging Jones improperly reported tens of thousands of dollars in loans to and from his campaign and spent funds on personal expenditures. The 2017 complaint filed by Calumet City Alderman DeAndre Tillman and James Patton outlined several expenditures by Jones to White Sox and Cub games, in addition to $7,000 spent between 2014 and 2016 at a Hooters restaurant. The complaint alleged payments to a foundation headed by Jones' wife were also illegally reported. The board ruled that there was not enough evidence to support the allegations and requested Jones amend his campaign filings. However, after a Daily Southtown report outlined the details of the foundation's borrowing from Jones' campaign and unpermitted solicitations of donations, Jones announced he was stepping down from the charity's board while threatening legal action against the reporter. And finally, did you receive a bill after receiving a vaccination at an event hosted by the ASI Alliance? The organization recently announced an issue where bills were sent out to residents in error. Vaccines received at events hosted by the organization before March 28th were supposed to be given free of charge. The organization, in partnership with the Chicago Family Health Center, issued a public apology and information was supposed to be sent out correcting the error. Anyone with questions about bills they may have received is asked to call 866-816-2342. And that ends our weekly review for April 4th through April 11, 2022. Thank you for joining us for this week in review. Peace.
Tonight.